event, and always. Now, please welcome Imam Talib Shareef. He will come and say a few words.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak. Okay, so very challenged now with the time upon us. But 55 iftars. I mean, can you imagine them in terms of weight, Emory here?
I'm losing weight.
55 iftars. That's quite a bit. We certainly appreciate the theme here, the friendship, bringing together diversity. Because when we look at iftar, in the word iftar, there's fatara, isn't it? And if we look at, there are 30 days in the month of Ramadan, normally 29, 30 days, but in the Quran, chapter 30, verse 30, we find the word fatara, fitra, also. So it means something. So iftar means to break away. Yes, break. You know, we say we break it down to break fast, but it also means to keep connected to that gave birth to you, that deals with your common essence. So fatara, nature, right? So some of the things that Muhammad the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave us is when we break the fast, use something natural, date, some fruit, something natural. And he says that, and we know some of the information from that says to always eat something for what God has produced first. Eat from God's table. And then after you eat from God's table, now we have these delicious meals that we learn to make from our diverse cultures, etc. That's man's table. So God is saying in the order of what we have in this month of Ramadan and our breaking the fast, if we order our life that way, always start from what God has given us first. And let that be the foundation and build upon that. When we come together, now we recognize our diversity. We don't disrespect each other because we also recognize our common origin, that we have a common nature. So we are very glad to be here. I'm leaving from another event. I wanted to be here with my brothers. We know we have a strong history associated with Turkey. Strong history, particularly African American, particularly those who come from what we call the Nation of Islam. Because in their establishing the foundation for Islam in America, they looked in history and found one of the strongest symbols, and it was in Turkey, the Ottoman Empire. And in looking at the flag of Turkey, if you look at this flag here and look at the flag of the Nation of Islam, you will see it's the same, just change the star and the crescent on the other side, and you have actually the same flag. So that's the flag. In fact, those who brought that back, they still use that same flag. And so to show you how strong we were. And then we do also know that during the life of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he had many of the Turkish fellows with him, and Imam Muhammad did as well. And one of his last trips before his passing, official trips, was to Turkey. He was received very well by the Turkish government, which is one of the reasons why we're trying to build upon that work and can create and can keep a relationship with members of Turkey. I lived in Turkey for 2 years, and I did not want to leave Turkey. Of course, it was for me like being in almost paradise. They hadn't been exposed to many Americans, particularly African Americans, who were Muslims. So they treated us really well, but the wife didn't like it because most of the women couldn't speak the language. So they didn't get along as well, but I got along really well. I took some courses and everything. And I actually began to study the scholars, with Turkish scholars, and I learned a lot during the course of that 2 years. And I was endeared to the Turkish people. And I love the respect they have for themselves, not want to put another head on their body. We have a problem sometime in America with African Americans. They'll have an African American body, but they'll try to put maybe somebody else's cultural head on their body. But when I went to Turkey, I saw them to be a very proud people. And I even took with me some of the jargon from another culture. And they didn't want to get into that. And so I remember one of the first letters, I think at that time we had cassette tapes. I actually put a letter on a cassette tape and sent it back to some of the imams and said that we got to be very careful because we have been, I use the term Arabized. I said we've Arabized the religion in Turkey, we see there's another culture now, and they don't want to have anything to do with somebody else's culture. They're proud of their own, and they respect us, and we should respect ourselves. And we began to move. So our relationship, we got blues and jazz associated with Turkey. So there's so much that brings us together. And I'll tell you one of the things, I'll get ready to close. I know we get ready to call you then. One of the things I admire about Turkey, and looking at how they have respect for themselves and also others, when I began to travel Turkey, one of the first places I came across, I was down south. There was a mosque that was built. And that mosque was built there in dedication to Bilal ibn Rabah, radiallahu anhu. And the reason they dedicated that particular mosque to him is because when he was traveling to Turkey, that's one of the places where he called the adhan. And so they built the mosque there to commemorate that. And then every single Jamia mosque, masjid that I visited, I saw the name Bilal. I didn't see that in other places in the quote-unquote Muslim world. But I saw it in every place, everyone, I don't know if it's in everyone, but everyone that I visited, from Istanbul to Izmir to Ankara, etc., I saw Bilal's name in the mosque. And that says a whole lot in terms of the respect. We know Saudi, it's difficult to even get them to even talk about Bilal. And, so we see a different situation with Turkey in terms of how they appreciate contributions to Islamic life. And so we thank them for bringing us together. I won't delay the time any longer. I hope we share something with you. Yes, ma'am. And the adhan, it's time. Okay, so we inshallah we'll call the adhan. I also want to thank our Imam Sultan. I hope if you haven't met him, Sultan Abdullah. And I'll also say we're glad to see him here as well. We'll call the adhan, inshallah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala salah. Hayya ala falah. Hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your food, and we'll commence with our speakers after we have finished our meal. Thank you.